June 9th marks the release of the long-awaited 1.30 update and the coinciding Emperor DLC for Europa Universalis IV. I'm Chewy.
And I'm Quagersall.
And between the two of us, we have 5,700 hours invested into EU4 as both fans of the game as well as content creators.
Join us as we explore and break down the dev diaries and teasers released over the last year and piece together our best look at EU4 1.30.
This will be through the lens of two players with quite different playstyles. This
is the definitive guide
to EU4 Emperor. The first episode in our definitive guide to EU4 Emperor will focus on the numerous changes to the map and the provinces of the European subcontinent. These changes range from the splitting of provinces to the introduction of many new tags throughout the French, German, Italian, and Balkan regions. At the time of this recording, our understanding is that all map changes brought in the 1.3 Emperor update will be part of the free content update and will not require the purchase of the Emperor DLC. However, many mechanics including changes to the Catholic faith, HRE mechanics, estates, and numerous unique mission trees will require Emperor to experience. Further clarification on the status of availability of various features can be found in the pre-launch dev diary patch notes, which we will link in the description when they become available, so check back here prior to the launch for more information regarding that.
Many of the screenshots and video clips, as well as much of the information presented in this video, have been gathered from the 1.30 European Update mod by Bloodshot Pixel on the Steam Workshop. That being said, the accuracy of this mod is as good as any available to us, and while not 100% accurate, is a good representation of what we should expect in the Emperor Update.
First up, Germany, the heart of Europe. The most visually striking map changes revolve around the large number of new tags and the splitting of several older tags across the heartland of the Holy Roman Empire.
The addition of numerous new tags via splitting of existing nations and introduction of OPM HRE princes is the primary changes observed with the upcoming expansion. Just to name a few, many of the mid-sized tags in the Empire, including Bavaria, Saxony, and Pomerania, have been split into multiple independent states, often with additional provinces and each with unique missions or events to guide the player towards reforming the familiar tags that we've grown accustomed to over the years.
Many tags in the HRE have had additional provinces added. Austria has picked up a number of provinces and small OPMs bordering them, while Bohemia's vassal of Silesia has been split into two. The usual favorite for a Prussia campaign in Brandenburg has received an additional province, and the Teutonic province of Neumark has been split, potentially buffering the fate of Neumark event for Brandenburg, giving them two provinces instead of one from that event.
To the north of Brandenburg lies many of the small city-states that made up the historic Hanseatic League, which has been made a formidable nation via new unique mission trees. More info on that in our upcoming video on the changes to missions in the 1.30 update.
The changes in the rich English Channel trade lands in the Low Countries can be seen via the additional provinces given to Burgundy's personal unions of Flanders and Brabant, a possible buff to help balance Burgundy against the rising power of France. The Burgundian inheritance has also received major changes, but we're going to talk more about that in our definitive guide video on Imperial Incidents and in the HRE.
France has also received a major overhaul in the upcoming patch. The vassal swarm many legacy players may remember from the base release of EU4 has returned, now in the form of 5 vassals of the French crown present at the 1444 start date. The developers have revealed several mechanics related to estates and government reforms to aid France in managing vassal loyalty. The extensive overhaul of states mechanics will be covered in our definitive guide.
Pivoting into Italy, the entirety of which has received a facelift, multiple new tags are visible in northern and central Italy, with many new provinces introduced throughout the entire peninsula. The Pope has had an additional vassal given to him in the form of Perugia, and Savoy has been given one in Genoa. Venice also now has an exclave in central Italy that wasn't previously present.
While on the topic of Venice, the Serene Republic has received multiple new provinces in northern Italy and the Balkan region, as well as integration of their previous vassal on the island of Corfu. We say goodbye to the nation of Corfu and hello to their neighbor, the nation of Epirus, who receives independence at the 1444 start date via half the provinces of Ionia and Corfu. Assuming Byzantium begins with the core on Epirus and the new fort positioning via the changes to the Greek portion of the Ottoman Empire, the rise of the Purple Phoenix shall be as glorious as ever for you Byzantophiles out there.
Moving north, Bosnia has spit out the new tag of Herzegovina, while Hungary starts the game now with Croatia under a personal union. All Baltic nations, as well as Croatia and Hungary, have received additional provinces. Sandwiched between Croatia and Austria lays the small Slovenian county of Celje, which should prove to be a challenging start for more experienced players or for those looking for a meme that isn't Ulm.
Switching gears from the political map to the trade map, you can see that Genoa has been split donating the eastern half of Iberia and a portion of southern France to the new node of Valencia, while maintaining Genoa as an end node. This change should increase the financial influence of Italian tags that would normally be butting heads with the titan that is mid-game Spain, allowing for more competition and variation in the region. The other large change to the trade map mode is the split of Pest from the Wien node, giving Hungary a monopoly on that node early on, certainly increasing their financial strength.
While on the topic of trade, the changes of trade companies will be discussed extensively in our definitive guide video on administering an empire. But in short, trade companies have been unhinged and can now be created in Europe, as well as inland Asia and Africa, vastly increasing the dynamics of trade and income for those nations that are playing outside of Europe. All right, Quagersall, so what do you think are the most important map changes? What jumps out to you?
Well, definitely the first thing that jumps out to me is France. I mean, all the new vassals, all the new provinces, it's crazy.
Yeah. You think it's going to be a little overpowered? Do you think the changes to Burgundy will help kind of curve that?
Maybe. They seem to have, like you were talking about this when we were discussing it earlier, they seem to have done like a don't nerf, just buff everybody kind of mindset.
That really does seem to be kind of the theme of this update, is there's a lot of buffs with very few nerfs. If they made somebody strong, they made the people around them even stronger. So I think that really applies to the HRE as well. Like the HRE is getting huge buffs, but at the same time, Hungary is getting buffs. France is getting huge buffs.
And then they
Imperial
buffed the
Incidents
HRE in Austria, to kind of balance out France, but then they needed to buff Venice. So they buffed Venice, so they need to buff Byzantium, so they buffed Byzantium, so they tried to buff the Ottomans even.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And so all these things going on in Italy, you know, like Battle Pope seems like it's going to be more common, because with all these changes with extra vassals and all that stuff, there's going to be a lot of force limit. There's going to be a ton of more troops than what you're used to.
Oh, yeah.
You know? Speaking of, I heard you say Byzantium. What do you think about this new Byzantium opening, huh? If they get a core on Epirus, I think that's going to be... That'll be cute.
Because they should. They had a core on Yanya, so why wouldn't they have a core on the province that's split out from Yanya?
Exactly. Yeah, I would be surprised if it didn't. As far as what do you think are the tags, the new tags specifically, that jump out to you?
Oh man, I actually want to try Epirus and see if you can do a reverse, like go against Byzantium and then go against the Ottomans. I think that would be like a double, almost twice as hard as the new Purple Phoenix, even if somebody could pull that off. Might have to be somebody like Budget Monk or something. I don't know.
It'd be interesting to see what Monk comes up with in this patch. He always comes up with crazy things to do, so that's exciting. So as far as the trade node changes, it seems like Italy overall getting buffed, Eastern Iberia getting nerfed, in a way.
Yeah, you mentioned. Yeah, definitely. You mentioned the Pope. I think people call him the Battle Pope, but he might be the Trade Pope. If he can conquer Italy and dominate that Genoa trade node without Spain being able to dominate it with just Aragon.
Yeah, I was going to say, if you get a strong Genoa, Tuscany, Pope, you know, even Naples, if they were to break free, I think that it really challenges Spain, and it makes Spain not able to just be, you know, number one, number two world power every
just by
single
colonizing.
game. Exactly.
They're really going to have to actually go up and try to capture those permanent claims they get in northern Italy.
Right, which the AI tends to do, so it makes sense.
That's true, but now it makes more sense for them to focus that a little better, and maybe a player focus it too. When previously you wouldn't. You just kind of integrate Aragon and boost him up, and you already have dominance of the trade node. Yeah,
absolutely. So I'm excited to see how Spain is affected, which is cool because it's like Spain isn't directly, they didn't do anything, but indirectly they might be it might be a very different game for Spain.
Yeah, I think Spain might have trouble. Because, like we said before, that everybody in this patch seems to be getting huge buffs, but then everyone kind of around Europe might have problems. Like England, can they handle the buffed France and Burgundy? Can Spain handle the buffed Italy? I mean, maybe Poland. Will Poland have trouble with the Empire having so much more power to it?
Yeah, it's hard to say, man.
It's going to be a weird thing, but I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah, I'm excited about it for sure. All right, boys. Well, I think that's going to do it for our conversation here. For those of you watching, make sure you tune in for the next video. It's going to be on updates to the HRE mechanics involving Imperial reforms, incidents, as well as balance changes and how that's all going to be affected.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Definitive Guide to EU4 Emperor.
Don't forget to check out the playlist for other videos in the series to keep yourself informed about what to expect in the 1.30 update.
Leave us a comment below and let us know what you're most excited about with the coming update, and if you learned anything you didn't already know from our video.
Please leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it or found any informative value in it, and consider subscribing for more informative videos like this in the future.
Feel free to check out my channel. It's linked in the description below the video for plenty of extra EU4 content, and let us know if you'd like to see additional videos drilling deeper into the topics we discussed today.